I have the honor now of being joined by Michael Steele, the former chair of the Republican National Committee, as well as a contributor to MSNBC, AEM session speaker, a keynote, and a heck of a nice guy for coming by and joining us today.
A lot of fun.
Tell us a little bit. One of the first comments you made was the man the Republicans just managed to elect to the highest office in the land is not really a Republican.
No, he's not a rock-rib Republican, and I think everybody kind of knew that going into this thing. But what he's done is, and I see him more as this new kind of populist. And there have always been, populist kind of aspirations inside the party, libertarian leanings inside the party, certainly with someone like Rand Paul. But he's been able to sort of capture that in a way that I think is going to be very interesting to watch. I sort of look at him governing as a pragmatic populist. He's an individual who's not beholden to the Republican Party because clearly it was obvious they weren't necessarily happy about his candidacy at the time. And he's not beholden to Democrats either. So he has the kind of freedom that a president hasn't had in a long while coming into Washington, where he can pretty much set the table the way he wants on policy, on issues that he thinks the country wants to have resolution to, unlike as opposed to the agenda that the others tend to have.
Does the fact that, as you mentioned, he's not beholden to anyone particular mean that he'll be able to move an agenda forward, and in particular for this group, equipment manufacturers, what that will mean to them?
Yeah, I know. I think it's important to note that some of the things that he's already started talking about, like his $1 trillion infrastructure plan, it's going to have a huge upside for folks in the industry of manufacturing. He wants to bring manufacturing back to the United States in a big way. And by that it means those jobs that have gone offshore in some form or another, find the means to bring them back, to create those opportunities here at home. And it's, I think, for organizations like AEM, it's a real opportunity to have a seat at that table as the government, and particularly this administration, begins to develop that strategy, to have that voice of manufacturers, equipment manufacturers in that space, because at the end of the day, it's all going to come to their table eventually to have to deal with whatever that plan is. So I think this is an enormously important time right now, and it's very enlightening and I think heartening for me to hear him talk about that. We had a small manufacturing base in my home state of Maryland. We love to see it grow. And to have a president for the first time in a long time speak to that, I think, is really encouraging.
There were a lot of smiles in this room when you mentioned that.
Yeah, no, there were, and a lot of head nodding, and they know it's going to be a tough task. We got to define what that $1 trillion looks like and how much of it goes where, and over what period of time it gets dispensed. But to have the president, before he even steps into the office, say that this is a priority, I think is important for everyone who's related to the industry.
Michael Steele, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure.